Hi, welcome back to Heart of Gold. I am Paul Chartier. Tonight we're going to hear about Camp Horsin Around. Phyllis Cronin's here. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
And Marilyn Swinford. You've never been on.
I have not.
I'm glad you're here. Thank you.
Thanks. Great opportunity. Thanks for having us.
I've been to Camp Horsin Around. I love the campus and what you've done and what you've taken it from to where it is now. Tell the folks how this happened.
Well,
yeah.
I guess the founders were really involved with the Ronald McDonald House, and we knew about the children, and they came to the Ronald House when, when they were sick. And so we thought, how about let's do something for kids that can have a good time. And so we got together and we founded the camp. And we were very lucky that people believe in us, because when you're doing something new, if people don't believe in you, you're not going to raise any money, and you're not going to get very far. But some 13, 14 years later, here we are. The camp is, phase one's done, and some almost $4 million later, we have this wonderful facility for our kids.
Yeah. Where is it located?
It's in Perryville, actually a little outside of Perryville. It's between Perryville and Harrodsburg. And on a clear day and on a day in fall when all the leaves are off the trees, if you look over, you can see the battlefield.
How many acres do you have?
We have 191 acres.
Gosh.
And
how did you get those acres?
Well, it's interesting. Jackie Nicholson and I scoured around and tried to find some place. We ran an ad in the paper and we got all kinds of offers, motels, from one end of the state to the other. And finally we both said, we went all over these places and said, none of these are what we really want. So we said, let's just sit on it for a while. So one Sunday morning I picked up the paper and there was this ad in there for this property. And so I called and I said, talk to me about the property. And the gentleman was telling me all about it. He said it has a little river and it's, got all these acres. And he said, what do you want to do with it? And I said, well, we want to do a camp for children whose health is compromised. And he said, oh my, don't tell my wife, she's a nurse. So we immediately made an appointment and we went to see the property with some of our other camp folks and decided it was perfect, and it is perfect.
And it keeps on going. Marilyn, what's your role with Camp Horsin Around?
I've been lucky enough to be asked to be a board member. So 2015 I came on as a board member. One of the previous board members and several of the other folks on the board had been familiar to me, and I'd known a little bit about the camp. So as they got me involved, the first couple of years we sponsor a particular week that the camp board sponsors for anything as possible, and we have selected children that get to come for that week. So I was able to be the camp nurse. I'm a retired nurse and had done emergency nursing, so it was a great fit. I used to be a pediatric nurse as well. So a little bit of nursing and a lot of camping, and it's a blast. It's just great.
And you mentioned phase one, Phyllis. What does phase one mean?
Well, it means that we have 5 cabins. We have a beautiful dining hall. We have a lake. We have a climbing wall. We have a basketball court. We have a what we call the Band-Aid barn, where if the children, need to go and have a Band-Aid put on. Or
Marilyn's World.
Yes, Marilyn's World. If they need their chemotherapy, they can have it there.
I'll be darned.
And we have an office. And just, down in the meadow, we have another pavilion, and we've just finished a pavilion in memory of one of our dear board members who passed away, Jackie Nicholson. And so we have lots of things. We still have a want list.
Imagine that. And you've got something fun coming up.
We do. We have an annual fundraiser, and it's called the Camp Out. So this will be our 16th year, and that is going to happen on October the 18th. It's a Thursday night, and we're thrilled to be able to have it at the new Regional Bluegrass Stockyards on Ironworks Pike.
Beautiful environment out there, yeah.
It's a great, it has not really a camping vibe, but it kind of has a farm vibe.
Sure,
and so we're very excited. It'll be a fun, casual night with auctions and a buffet dinner and live auctions, silent auctions that we can talk more about. But I think it's going to be a great evening. Gives people a chance to come out, learn a little bit more about the camp, and then to support us so that we can move on and do great things for the camp.
That's right.
Continue to expand it.
Do you know the website that they can go to look for tickets, or a phone number?
Absolutely. The website is www.camphorsenaround.org, and you can go on there. There's a link, and if they look there, then they can actually get tickets online. So that's very easy to do.
People in Lexington think there's only one basketball coach, but we actually have two dynamic basketball coaches.
We do.
Isn't one of them helping you?
Yes, Matthew Mitchell.
Yes.
Just a great friend of the camp.
Yeah.
Has not only, emceed some of our events and will be at the camp out, but he's also a major donor to the camp. And he and Jenna
great
are
couple.
They're wonderful, and they believe in what we're doing and have been very, very helpful.
Any ideas of auction items that you can talk about, or is it a little bit too early to talk about some of the fun things that people can bid on?
Oh, we have many items, and items for really any interest in virtually any price range that you're interested in. We'll have about 100 silent auction items that range anywhere from overnight events to goods for the home. We have wonderful live auction items that we're most excited about. We have 3 trips. We have a 6-night trip to Ireland, which includes rental car and lodging. It does not include airfare. We have a trip to the Hyatt Regency and a weekend in Lake Tahoe.
Fun.
We also have a trip to Chicago to see Hamilton, so for those individuals who have not. So it includes mezzanine tickets to go see Hamilton and an overnight lodging at the Hyatt, so we're excited by that. We will also have a weekend at the camp, which is great for those people that, about 20 individuals that just want to come and enjoy our camp facilities. We have other things. We have a large bourbon basket. This is, Kentucky bourbon country, and a wine basket as well. So those are our feature items that we're really excited about.
I didn't hear you talk about the one item, and maybe I'm making this up, because I've seen Matthew Mitchell show that he and his wife cook in their kitchen. Dinner at the Mitchell's house, did you talk about that, or did I just make that up right now? That maybe there's peer pressure on him to create that, maybe?
That's a good idea.
That's a great idea.
I mean, they're proud to show off their kitchen on TV. They can do it in person, maybe.
I think that
would that be maybe something you can talk to them about?
I think that's a great idea.
And he doesn't say no when it comes to kids, I don't think, very well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
How many kids have you helped?
Well, I think last year we had over 1,300 campers, and this year I think we're about 1,100 or 1,200. With the school year picking up, getting later because of snow and starting earlier in August, you only have so many camping days. But we're a year-round camp. It's heated, it's air-conditioned, so we can have kids in the fall for fall break, have them on weekends. And if we get a hard snow, they can come down and have a big sledding party. Right
into the lake,
exactly.
So the river. Do you have a full-time staff, part-time staff? Did you volunteer?
Oh yes,
okay.
Volunteer, and the best return on investment ever. I've also enticed some of my colleagues to come out and volunteer as well to help with camp nursing. But we do have 3 individuals who are the only paid individuals. We have an executive director, we have our camp director who assists with activities, and we have an administrative assistant that is helping with a lot of the contacts and phone calls, etc. So the rest of us, it's a purely volunteer board, which really is very, very useful to, they have so many different skills and so many different qualities that they bring to the board. So it allows us to go ahead and try to run a camp, and including grounds and building and financial advice and legal advice. So we have
repairs.
Great board members.
Right.
Great adults involved in this, but I'm going to get back to the kids. These kids are going through issues,
sure.
and you can talk specifically about what they're going through, that prohibit them from going to 4-H camp and all these other camps. But you have created a world for them that they get to do what other kids do.
Well, many of our campers, their health is compromised, and some of them are very fragile. But they ought to have the opportunity to have fun like all the other kids. And so that's what our main goal was, that we would be a camp that no matter what your problems or your issues were, you could come to camp. Now we're a little different than just sending 100 kids to camp. We do it by programs. For example, our biggest users are our cancer kids, and they come for 4 weeks, 4 different weeks during the summer. And they have almost a one-on-one ratio with when they come to camp with an adult with them. We have our autistic children who can only come during the day, and they have a one-on-one ratio. So, you know, and we say, as far as we're concerned, the children can do all their little bodies will let them do. We're not going to inhibit them. Now, maybe the doctors and nurses who come with them say, you know, that's not a good idea. But if you came and visited the camp, most of the time you wouldn't know our kids were sick.
Yeah.
And
kids can be very conscientious about whatever it is. I mean, they can have a pimple and think that their world's going to end. These kids have things going on physically and mentally and behaviorally, but when they get around each other, does that inhibition kind of let go and they can just beat themselves more?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, they share when they are down in the creek and chasing you with crawdads, and when they're in the swimming pool and having, you know, water fights, just like with every other kid. I mean, they're splashing, they're making it to the max. And with the support that they have, especially with their buddies or the adults that are with them, you know, they maybe couldn't climb a climbing wall, and now with all that help, it's like they're up to the top and waving at you, you know, at the top as soon as they get over it.
At the end of each week before the kids leave, what do you see happens in them from when they arrived?
well, we hope that they've mellowed out. You know, they trade all of this fun and adventures. They trade off the doctor's visits, the hospital visits, and those kinds of things. So when they come, you know, it takes a day or so probably, especially if they're new campers, you know, have not been there, to, you know, to get the lay of the land and figure out what's going to happen. But I think, you know, that's the biggest thing that we can give them is freedom and the ability to do all the things that they can possibly do at camp.
And to have a commercial for adults, Marilyn, what happened to you by being around these kids and helping them at the camp?
I mean, the return that you get is just the joy of the children's smile. And they leave and they hug you and they just want to come back. So I think that's the best testament when a child leaves and it's like, can I come back? When can I come back? And that's affirmation, because kids are very honest and they're very, you know, truthful in what they tell you. So to have them leave and the first thing that they want to do is to come back, that's what puts a smile on your face.
Well, we do live in bourbon country. And maybe it was over a few bourbons that you created this thought, how many ever years ago, because who would have thunk that this great imagination that you had would come to fruition like this?
Well, you know, we had a good teacher. We went to the top. We went to Paul Newman's camps and got lots of information. And before Mr. Newman died, through his salad dressings, popcorn, what have you, he became a donor to our camp. And, you know, he just set such a great example. And even now, even though he passed away, his legacy is there. And I like to go on their website every now and then because it's just so many things that you see their kids hear and say and do that, you know, you think, golly. And he used to say that they're making kids happy one smile at a time.
Well, you've brought some of that magic to Kentucky, and there are a lot of families, parents, and kids that have benefited from this. So ladies, thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck with your big event. We'll promote it as well, and I hope to see you there.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. I'm Paul Chartier. We'll be back on Heart of Gold.